There's a guy you're kind of seeing. Sometimes you hang out, sometimes you sleep together, but it's mainly sleeping together. And it's kind of become the point where the relationship you have with him is 80% of you just sleeping together. Where he'll message to see you and you'll sleep together, and then you won't hear from him for a little while. Until he wants to sleep with you again. And maybe you're actually kind of okay with seeing him on occasion like this, but really, you don't want it to be just that. You want some degree of effort in spending time together that isn't just around the sex. And maybe you even used to hang out, but now it's just become a booty call. Or here's what you do from here. If you've gotten into the habit of only seeing him when he messages you, and especially if it's become very last minute most of the time, for the next couple of times he messages you, here's how you're going to approach it. So let's say it's Friday morning and he messages you saying, hey, do you want to come over tonight? You respond by saying, hey, yeah, I'd love to, but let me confirm later because I may have something I've already committed to tonight. Now, because he's not used to you saying no, or at least you not coming when he wants to see you, he's going to make the presumption that you're going to move things around so that you can see him, or at least see him after whatever it is you have going on. This means that he's going to be building up the anticipation of seeing you that night. He'll be getting excited at the thought of kissing you and holding you and doing whatever else. Then, later in that day, if he hasn't already chased you up to see whether you're coming or not, later in that day, you tell him that you can't make it. And that you were really looking forward to seeing him, but you just can't get out of whatever it is you have going on that night. And if he asks you, hey, why can't you see me after? You say to him that you wouldn't be able to see him until very late and you have a very early start the next morning. If you had the evening to come and spend time with him, then the early start wouldn't be an issue for you. Now, it's really important that you express that you were looking forward to seeing him. But this tells him that you're not telling him no and that he can still get excited to see you another time. Because remember, he keeps coming back, right? And part of him coming back is the validation you give him by wanting him. So in that situation, that time that's just happened, you don't see him that time. Now, the next time that he messages to see you again, which will probably last minute like you did the time before, you do the exact same thing. You say to him that you want to see him, that you'll later confirm, and then if he chases it up with you, you say, hey, I really can't make it tonight. And this time you will have to give specific details as to why you can't make it, because you don't want him to think that you're playing a game with him. Because believe you me, he would have noticed that the past 2 times you've said that you want to see him, but you've not been able to see him. He'll notice that this is the second time that he's tried to see you last minute and you didn't show. And after this second time of you doing this, here's what's very likely to happen next. Is that the next time he will ask to see you, but it won't be last minute. He'll try and plan an evening with you ahead of time. So instead of trying to message you Friday morning to come around that night, he'll message you maybe on Tuesday or Wednesday to lock in for Friday. And when he does this, make sure you respond to his message, oh, I love an earlier text in the week, wink wink. Tell him that you're free for him and it would be lovely to see him. You see, what you've done here is you've shown that you will only respond to his offer when he makes the plan ahead of time. And you're rewarding him for it by giving him validation and actually going to see him. Now, it's really important that you do go and see him because it will solidify this new change of behavior from him. It's like training a dog. When he does something you like, you reward him so that he does it again. And you'll see from that point onwards, he'll be messaging you ahead of time to see you, actually making a plan. Now, you may be cautious of one thing. You may be worried that he may try and go back to doing it very last minute. You may be thinking to yourself, okay, what if that works this time, but then the next time he does message me, it's of the morning of the night that he does want to see me. What do I do then? Does that mean it hasn't worked? No, it doesn't mean it hasn't worked. But if he does try it again, here's what you do. You don't respond to his text message until the following day. So if he messages you on the Friday to come over that night, you don't respond until Saturday. And when you do respond, you respond by saying how you would have loved to see him and spend some time with him. This is showing him that you're not as available for him as he thinks, so it's in his interest to schedule time with you. And you telling him that you want to see him, that you would have really enjoyed it, is reinvigorating his incentive to do so. And this way of approach doesn't just work on a guy who's keeping you at booty calls. It works with many situations of a guy. Like if you want a guy to take you out on actual dates, you express verbal interest in him, but you only meet him when he offers to take you out on a date. Or like when you want a guy to give you commitment. You express that you want him sexually, but you only show through your actions and be sexual with him when you are exclusive. It's the perfect way to approach things when we want to set standards of how we want someone to treat us. And you're doing all of this without getting into any conflict, without having to go, hey, I need to sit down and talk to you and address something. Where you're having that conversation where you'll feel like you're asking them to change, and there could feel like a touch of desperation there. So be sure to add this approach to your arsenal. Is there a guy you're going to use this on? If you're looking for a guy who sparks up your love life, make sure you subscribe to this wonderful tribe. And as always, keep it slick.